Hi, I'm Andrew Corbetts, pastor of Lagana Christian Church. I want to thank you for watching this video on Jeremiah. I want to show you why I think this is an amazing book and could only be inspired by God. As you watch this DVD and this video, I hope that your faith will be strengthened in God and His Word. This is Jeremiah. We're starting what I would call, to use Josh's language, an epic journey. This could take a while. Kim said to me last night, you realise how long this is going to take to get through at the pace you're setting? And she said, it'll take 3 years. And I said, if I hurry. So I'm in no hurry to do this because I think this book is so important, and I want to show you why. Jeremiah is known as the prophet who wept. And he's an unusual prophet. He came on the scene some 70 years after the death of Isaiah. Isaiah was the first, what we call major prophet. And Isaiah and Jeremiah share a lot of similarities. They both lived in a time when their prophecies were fulfilled within their lifetime. Both of them gave prophecies that extended hundreds of years beyond their lifetime. Both of these men were immediately respected and highly regarded, and both of these men were persecuted for what they had to say. When Jesus said in Matthew 16, verse 14, he asked this question to his disciples. He'd been ministering by then for about a year or two, and he said to his disciples, "What are you hearing? Who do people say that I am?" And one of the responses that the disciples reported back to Jesus was, "Some say that you are Jeremiah." So even in his day, people could see the parallels between Jeremiah and Jesus. So this book is really, really important. We're going to see that when what Jeremiah prophesied, Christ re-prophesied. Jesus quoted from Jeremiah. Jeremiah punctuates the life of Christ in the Gospel of Matthew. One of the opening prophecies about Christ is from Jeremiah. One of the closing prophecies of Christ is from Jeremiah. Jeremiah features large in the life of Christ. So strangely, we have a lot to learn about Jesus by looking at this prophet, Jeremiah. So who was he? We're told that he was the son of a the son of a priest, Hilkiah. And we know that at about the time that he was born, around about 636, 640 BC, that it was about that time that the law was rediscovered. That is, the Bible, which had been curiously lost for several hundred years, was refound. It was found written on parchments of what's called vellum, which is scraped leather, almost paper-like, but it endures a long time. And it was found hidden in jars, put in a wall and sealed up. And as they were excavating parts of the temple, they found it. And the king at that time, his name was Josiah. Josiah read the law and reformed Judah, reformed Israel. And the law would have been taught, and young Jeremiah from the youngest age would have been taught probably by his dad, the law of God. And he would have grown up being very familiar with the Bible, very familiar with the law, which in that time was the first 5 books of the Bible. In Jeremiah chapter 9, in verse 1, we see another glimpse of his heart. He wasn't a cold preacher. He wasn't someone who just preached. In fact, one of the outstanding parts of Jeremiah is that we read that he delivered these prophetic words, and then we get a glimpse of how he felt when he gave those words and how people responded to him when he gave those words. And he says this in Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 1, "Oh, that my head were waters and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughters of my people." So he felt the daughter of my people. He felt what he was saying. This was something very close to his heart. The Babylonians invaded Jerusalem the second time when they destroyed the city. They actually did it in 3 waves. The first wave, they came in and took all the elite officials. That included people like Daniel. The second time they came in, they destroyed the city. Then the third time they came in, they just took whoever was left. And when the Babylonians did that, one of the first questions they asked when they came into the city was, "Where's Jeremiah?" They knew who he was. They'd heard of him. He had won their respect. So Jeremiah was told to look beyond his own circumstances, his own limits, his own horizons as they had been at that time, and to begin to declare the word of God wherever. So think about Jeremiah. You probably wouldn't have picked him in a room. Which one's the prophet? You wouldn't have picked this guy. He would have looked very ordinary. He would have been very easy to overlook. Very easy. And isn't it the unlikely ones that God calls more often than not? But when they actually do what they're called to do, isn't it amazing how we can then look back and go, wow, didn't God prepare them? Isn't that the case with Moses? Was he prepared to speak before Pharaoh? Absolutely. He spent 40 years in Pharaoh's palace being groomed and prepared. And you could probably look at your life and go, look, my life is just mundane, routine. There's nothing outstanding about my life, which I would challenge and question that. But I think God is actually preparing each one of us all the time for something he wants us to do. And Jeremiah would have been very easy to overlook, and maybe you have felt that way as well.